I'm Traci Middleton, and I own Mill Creek Land and Cattle in Puryear, Tennessee. We're on the northwest side of the state, and we are seed stock Brangus and UltraBlack cattle producers. Brangus are typically defined as a 3/8 Brahman and 5/8 Angus cross. And then several years later, we began to breed the UltraBlacks, which are the Brangus crossed back with an Angus. That really suits our environment here in Tennessee because we're able to capitalize on the carcass attributes of Angus cattle while still maintaining a small percentage of that Brahman influence. It makes them very tolerant to fescue, heat resistant, insect resistant, things like that. So they really thrive in this area. We have some hot, humid summers here, and that's where we really see them excel. So we brought the UltraBlacks on to help us further capitalize on all of those things. So EPDs are expected progeny differences, and that is just one of the metrics that we can utilize as a seed stock producer to help us identify which animals that we want to bring into our genetic equation, if you will. So today we are going to be doing breeding soundness exams on our bulls that we'll be selling this spring. We do that every year on every herd sire that we utilize in our herd and every bull that we sell. So what we actually do is we collect a semen sample on the bull. The vet actually performs that, and they will take that, look at it under a microscope, and that tells us primarily, is that bull fertile? And is he going to be able to go out on 25 head of cows and be able to get those cows pregnant? And look at the morphology to make sure that the sperm are basically constructed the way that they're supposed to be. And then they'll look at motility and concentration, assign a value to it, and the bull either passes or fails. We're generally pretty lucky that most of these things do pass, but in a breeding season, sometimes you don't know that those cows did not get pregnant until you've pulled the bull out. 3 months have passed, or 60 days to 3 months have passed, and you find out that all of your cows are open, which means not pregnant. And that's a huge loss of time at that point because they should all be calving in that same time frame and window. And we've had that happen here before. We've had a bull that ended up being sterile, and then all of our cows were open. So it's extremely important that as a seed stock producer, that's something that we're analyzing. So when a commercial producer comes and buys a bull here, he has confidence in what he's purchasing. We have EPDs for calving ease, which would be an indicator of how easy a calf is going to be born. We have EPDs for birth weight, which tells us what we should expect that calf to weigh. Weaning weight and yearling weight EPDs, those are important because most commercial producers are selling their calves at weaning. So identifying which ones are going to produce more weaning weight, that's important to a lot of commercial producers. We have EPDs for milk. That is giving us information about how much milk we should expect for a cow to produce. And then it goes on into carcass traits such as ribeye area and marbling. There are some fertility traits, stayability, the ability for a cow to remain in the herd for a certain number of years, which is very important because it costs a lot to get a heifer developed and actually into production. So the more years that she stays in a herd, the more value that provides to the producer. We actually scan by ultrasound our yearling bulls and heifers, and that gives us an indicator of ribeye area size and marbling and fat thickness and things like that that ultimately are going to impact that beef eating experience. So we try to collect that data. And all of those data points combined, and I kind of compare it to a puzzle, and there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle that identifies those superior genetics. But we try to collect and analyze as many of those as possible, connect them together as best we can in order to identify those genetics that are going to go out and outperform and outdeliver what the customer expects. It's almost like a window sticker on a vehicle. It's telling you what's under the hood and what you can expect from it, the details of it, and then you can take that and utilize that as you see fit in your operation, based on the make and model and what you're wanting to do with it. So that's essentially what an EPD does, is gives us a little more information about what we can expect that animal to do. So I have very strong opinions on the most important EPD, and that is we should never single trait select. As we single trait select, we back ourselves into a corner. Some traits are negatively correlated, so as one goes up, another's coming down. So, here we focus more on optimums instead of the ones that are pushing the envelope in terms of being a maximum. We try to have enough of everything because all of those traits are important. But if I had to pick one, I would pick traits related to fertility because the whole process starts with that cow breeding, becoming pregnant, and then producing a calf each year. So if you're gonna twist my arm and make me pick one, I pick those traits related to fertility. Carry it on over right here. Being a farm mom, in terms of what my most important role is on the farm, is we have the opportunity here for our daughter to see a lot about life, and the good and the bad, because that certainly does happen. So as a mom, teaching her to fully understand all of that and comprehend it and turn that into compassion and hopefully she can see things that people just don't get to see. One thing that I hope our daughter learns from growing up on the farm, I think the first thing that comes to mind are hard work and responsibility and learning that you get out of something how much you put into it. But probably the most important thing that I want her to learn is the responsibility of what we do here. We're on a minor scale feeding the world, and that's not something that we take lightly. And I want her to learn the importance of that and take that job as seriously as we do. I think one thing that I would like for consumers to know is that my family considers it to be a great honor to feed theirs and to supply beef from our family to their family. And know that we're producing that beef in a sustainable way. I feel like more than ever, there's a united effort from a seed stock producer all the way to the processor to ensure the quality of that product. And I think that's just, there's more unity throughout the whole industry in reaching that goal, and I think we've really seen that in the last 10 years.